Hi, Shalom, Shalom. It's your bro Yakwa from the GM Chicago branch, coming at you with another lesson through the Spirit and Power Bashman Shah. Before I start off, I'd like to start by giving all praise on it. Due to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Kakadash, the line surpasses great millstone, will, and Sages, are you brethren doing this work to sincerity with charity? Alright, I'll just play a few videos.
Done in the United States of America, we used to have to our mamas to make babies. The black boy used to get a bag put on his head, and all he did was he his sister. He had to his aunties. They used to breed us, homie. They used to cut our off. Niggas used to have to hang and get his cut off and put in his mouth. They used to have a way with us. You think I ain't racist and I know my history? And we still getting done bad. And I'm sick of how niggas get done and we can't be racist. Every racist, as bad as niggas been done.
They hung her by her feet from a tree after beating her. They set her on fire and she was pregnant, so they cut her stomach open. And when the baby fell, the unborn baby fell, they stomped on it. Then they riddled her body with 60 bullets.
You know, this is a key reason why they're trying to erase white history, because of things like this. So now a story will get told where a woman
invented the stoplight. White man invented a ticket.
Keep going.
The black man invented.
It's a lot, yeah. Not that one. I had another one here. Let me see.
Slave that was forced to impregnate his own daughters. He was forced by his master to impregnate his 7 daughters. In the most brutal revenge, he got his lick back. This is 1854, Alabama. This testimony was given by a woman named Mary, who identified herself as the eldest daughter of the late Abner Hollis. This document, previously uncatalogued and unknown to historians, represents a profound shift in the narrative. This perspective moves from the external horrified observer to the internal traumatized victim. This is Black AF History, the unwhitewashed story of America. I recommend everyone get this book and read the story of our ancestors. A powerful slave owner, Abner Hollis, forced an enslaved man, Cato Granger, to impregnate his own 7 daughters, initiating a dark cycle of abuse. This horrific crime, buried for over a century, culminated the most brutal revenge imaginable. A dark secret that the church tried to hide and the land itself refused to forget. This is the story of the Hollis family, a tale of monstrous crime and the terrifying consequences that followed when its victims enacted their own justice. It's this kind of deep dive into America's most hidden and horrific chapters that intrigues you. Go ahead and follow, like, and comment. And also tell me where you're from. Make sure to grab a slave that was...
Right, and that's just a few videos through the Spirit, man. We know Esau, man, got a long track record of doing numerous things, all right, unrighteous things, handling Jake's in atrocious ways, man, cutting a rod off, feeding, babies to alligators, just anything Jake invented, Esau stole, right, so forth and so on, man, so this is nothing, it's just the, extra cherry on top, if you will. Esau had Jake cracking, they moms or they sisters or they daughters, right? Breeding Jake, and that's unrighteous, man. And in the kingdom, we gonna get, our lick back, but we ain't gonna be doing things like that, man. All right. Because that's unrighteous, man. A man is not supposed to lay with his sister or his mom or his daughter, right? But that just shows you, how profane Esau is, man. Of course, surely oppression make a wise man mad. He that increase of knowledge, increase of sorrow. We understand these things, man. And that's all, at a certain point, hey, we don't expect nothing more from this devil but, this type of activity, man. And at the end of the day, hey, we know his end, man. All right? What scripture says, I had an eye slip, except I, went into the sanctuary of the Lord, then I understood his end. We have come to the understanding of who we are, who this man is, what was his role, what was our role, what was our punishment. All right? And we know, all right, that at the end of this, we're going to be victorious, man. We're going to have the last laugh, man. All right? Esau is going to go into captivity, man. All right? The Lord is going to recompense this man for the things he's done. Right? So with that being said, this is Zechariah 2:7. It says, deliver thyself, O Zion, that dwellest with the daughter of Babylon. It says, for thus saith the Lord of hosts, after the glory hath he sent me unto the nations, which bore you. He that toucheth you toucheth the apple of his eye. It says, for behold, I will shake mine hand upon them, and they shall be a spoil to their servants. It says, and ye shall know that I am the Lord of hosts. Like, ye shall know that the Lord of hosts have sent me. All right? So, yeah, man. Hey, you could have fucked up any nation, all right, on the planet Earth, man. And partially been cool, man. But you chose to go after the Lord's jewels, man. All right, the Israelites, the true Israelites. The true children of God, man. And deal unrighteously with them, man. Deal harshly with them. Right? And of course, the Lord used you to punish us. But guess what, man? You did things, right? You took it too far, man. Right? You took it too far and you did things that was just plainly wicked, man. That's not how you're supposed to deal, with your slave or your servant, so to speak, man. Especially not the Israelites, man. So you're gonna be dealt with, man. At the end of the day, you're gonna be dealt with, Esau. And that's what the scripture says. Isaiah 47:6 says, I was wroth with my people, I have polluted mine inheritance, and given them into thine hand. Thou didst show them no mercy upon the ancient. Thou hast very heavily laid thy yoke. So the Lord was wroth with us, man. Like I said, man. He polluted his inheritance and gave us into, your hand, right? And we know the inheritance of the Lord, is Israel, man. And the land, man. All right, the land of Israel as well, man. Right? This is how we know that you small hats over there in the land today ain't the true Jews, man. Right? And it says, thou didst show them no mercy, right? You didn't show us any mercy, man. It says, upon the ancient thou hast very heavily laid the yoke. Even the old, man. Working Jake until they, basically die, man. What Samuel L. Jackson say on Django, you turning big rocks into little rocks. When you can't swing that hammer no more, you're gonna take a rock and knock you over the head, man. Basically throw you off the cliff. However he said it, man. But basically working Jake to death, man. That's what Esau that's what Esau continue to do to this day, man. All right. Jake still fucking, getting worked to death, man. The only difference is, in captivity, he had to feed you and clothe you, right? But now he give you a check and you got to spend that on your own shit, which is, for the most part, shit, you ain't got shit left over, So, hey, Esau's gonna get that recompense, man. He's gonna get that judgment that's written. This Isaiah chapter 149 and verse 5. It says, let the saints be joyful in glory. Let them sing aloud upon their beds. Let the high praise of God be in their mouth, and a two-edged sword in their hand, to execute vengeance upon the heathen, and punishments upon the people, to bind their kings with chains and their nobles with fetters of iron, to execute upon them the judgment written. This honor have all his saints. Praise ye Yahweh. Right? So that's what we're going to do to you, man. Right? We're going to put fetters of iron and chains and yokes of iron upon thy neck and carry you away into captivity, man. When you're going to be born sons and daughters, man. You're gonna get sons and daughters, right? And we're gonna, put chains of iron, and fetters of iron upon them, man, right? We're gonna sell them back and forth one to another, man. We're gonna send postcards, and gifts one to another, we're gonna do some some things, man. All right, when the Lord gives us those spiritual powers, all right, we're gonna exact recompense, man, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shai, man, right? And that's why it says let the saints sing aloud upon their beds, man. The scripture said this is the patience and the faith of the saints, man. The scripture says, the Lord is not mocked. That so of a man soweth, that she also reap, man. This word gives us comfort, man, because we know that the Lord is not unrighteous, man. Right? There is truly a just power that ruleth, man. And if there is, then Esau, your ass is cooked, man. Right? Which we know there is. So that's what we're telling you, right? Your judgment is set, man. Right? You did what you did. You called it manifest destiny, right? And like the Malcolm always say, there's a manifest destiny part 2, right? So you have only so long to rule, right? 2 Thessalonians 1:6. Seeing there's a righteous thing with the Most High to recompense tribulation to them that trouble you. And that's that. Seeing it is a righteous thing with the Most High to recompense tribulation to them that trouble you. And it's a righteous thing with the Lord to recompense tribulation to those who trouble us, man, right? So we will receive that recompense, man. All these little things that we find out over the years, things that Esau did to us, our forefathers, and continue to do to us to this day. All these, these secret codes and laws that they put in place to hinder us and to keep us, systematically at the bottom, so for so on. Hey, guess what, man? That's just another, added to your tab, man, because you're gonna have to pay up, man. Right? So with that, I'm going by giving all praise and glory due to Yahweh Shai. Double honors to Apostle Great Millstone. Shalom.